So it's a cursed ring, digging dark secrets. It's after me now, I know it. I shouldn't have worked on it in the workshop, it's too late now. So Garrow repaired the ring with that little crude piece of silver that was used to repair it all. It might have just been lead, I don't know. But it looked silvery. This is the coin that he showed to me. It's from the 3rd century. So that was his reply when we showed him the coin from Sir Rodney Bentcliffe's possessions, the old Roman coins that he found at the dig site. I would like to test that coin. Okay, I'd like to test that coin against the silver that we found in the brazier and see if it's the same. Because it would be really good to know whether or not the knife was... It would actually make all the difference to describe whether the knife was made by Sir Rodney to begin with. And did he bring it with him? But no, Sir Rodney never got to the tomb. That was the thing. He never got there. So the killer got there. So no, it wouldn't have been. Okay, but either way, it would be just nice to know if those old coins were made into the blade or the new ones. Because I'd like to know who had those coins. But I don't think it's relevant, otherwise it would be in the game. Okay, then we gave him his medicine and he calmed down. I really wish we'd have given him that at the beginning, and I would like to know if he gives you different answers, because he's very, very, very freaked out until I gave him that. And then when we asked him if he placed the bottle of champagne in the changing room, he says, what? No. Okay. Perhaps you could explain the cult of Mithras. This was the 2nd round of questioning now. We went back to him. There's nothing to say we are not the worthy ones. So he's very obsessed with the cult. But Sir Rodney believed he was. He was wrong. I have visions. The golden knife, the mummy. Oh, it's all my fault. Calm down, Mr. Garrow. We discovered some melted silver in the brazier. Did you put it there? It didn't help. The power is too strong. He didn't say yes. But he understood why the silver was there. The silver was there, you know, to ward off the evil. But I kind of wonder if maybe he dumped silver in there, like if he dumped silver coins in there. Did he put those old coins in there? That's the other reason I would like to test that old coin, is whether or not this is the same grade as those as well, because then we can assume those coins were thrown in there by him to ward off evil. Like maybe he intended to go do that as part of their meeting. It was like, oh, we're going to be meeting at the old baths where the Mithras temple is. Okay, I should probably take some coins and throw them in the fire, because that's what they used to do in the old days. And he thought he was trying to help. And it could be completely irrelevant, which means it's the ice blade, which I don't like, so no. That leads us, though, to assume he threw the silver in the fire. Which means the silver that was turned into a blade was thrown into the fire by him. Did he find the blade stuck in Rodney's eye and throw it in the fire? Or did he make the blade? I really don't want it to be this guy because, you know, that wouldn't do. That really wouldn't. But we can make a case for him. You know, we can say, okay, look, he's not in his right mind, right? If we go... no, is it? Garrow illness, tortured by his obsession, which makes him the killer with a silver knife. We can then figure out why. We can condemn him, send him to an asylum. He's a psychopath. We are unable to determine if his actions were deliberately manipulative or due to genuine illness and needs to be put away for life. Or we can send him to a sanatorium for the appropriate treatment. He cannot be held responsible for his crime. He was under the strong psychotropic effects of St. John's wort. He may yet be cured. So we can be lenient with him, and I'd be tempted to do that because I think if it was him, yeah. But in his state, would he have been able to find his way towards the knife, make a mould, a very well-made mould? He's only an amateur after all. I mean, look at the work he did on that ring. It's like, it's crude. So I don't know if I fancy him. I like the idea of a silver knife, but I don't think it's him. Which means to me, it's got to be Blinkhorn. Because it's not going to be Pitkin. He doesn't have the wherewithal, as a toff that he is, to make the blade, right? I think he was humiliated. So Blinkhorn is humiliated by the fact that Rodney Bentcliffe stepped into his dig site, found clues to the Mithratic blade, refuses to share it. He was also then saying, you can come with me to an archaeological conference. Then he was like, no, you can't actually, I'm changing my mind, go away from me. And we know that Rodney Bentcliffe was going to plan to use this as a symbol of power along with Lord Blackmore to try to usher in a new area of strength within the political machinations of the British Empire. There's something deeper and bigger at stake there, and Blinkhorn was going to fall victim to it. So he was motivated by vengeance. He found the silver knife. He then melted down some of his pocket change to, well, found the gold knife, sorry, made a mold of it, and then melted down his pocket change and took the knife with him. Maybe he intended to show it to them and be like, look, I found it first. And then in a fit of jealous rage, he stabbed him. So what could we do with that? He killed Sir Rodney to avenge the abuse of power. The death would be to his financial benefit, would allow him to emerge as a luminary in his field. He uses the silver reproduction of the golden knife of Mithras. So you can either condemn him. Blinkhorn knew Bentcliffe's intentions to take all the credit for the discovery of the golden knife. He devised a cunning plan to eliminate Bentcliffe. For this he deserves the rope. Or we can absolve him. He devoted his life to discovering the golden knife, and the credit was about to be stolen by Bentcliffe. If he had given the opportunity to claim ownership of his discovery, he would not have killed Bentcliffe. So, we now just get to determine who killed him. I don't think we can go and speak to these guys again first. See if maybe they can tidy up any loose ends, give us any insight. So I'm going to go and double check. But otherwise, I think we know Blinkhorn did it with a silver knife. Because I don't think, again, an ice knife? Yes, it would have survived inside the inside the ice bucket with the champagne long enough to be taken into the steam room. But then once it was in there, it would start to melt pretty damn quick, and they were in there for a while. Come on, let me...
I'm not sure that I can be helpful at the moment.
Okay.
I'm trying to rest.
Do you have something else to ask me?
Okay, so we can't talk to these guys.
Locked.
Lestrade doesn't want to speak to us either. Okay. So... let me just go back over his stuff and make damn well sure nothing jumps out at us, because a lot of it is deduction still. You've got to read between the lines and pick which one you think is the most likely. Okay, so we ask questions. His name is Percival Blinkhorn, archaeologist specialising in the Roman period, working on several excavation sites at present, including the baths at Strand Lane. He may have also been working at St Albans. So they wanted to find items and put them in an exhibition after restoration. And he says, oh, it has, thanks to Sir Rodney. He was very sort of, you know, just like, oh yeah, he helped. It's great. Would not say he was a kind man, but he was talented. Felt a great admiration for him, I must say. Met Sir Rodney briefly once in Egypt and shared his research with him. Surprisingly, my work did convince him to come here. He arrived only a couple of months ago. Well, that's because he probably found, the mummy, right? Well, Sir Rodney is, or was, oh god, a cold man, and very secretive. Well, he's probably involved in a government, or a thingy conspiracy. Oh no, Sam, what are you whining about now? That's right. You receive shy pats. So he learned much from him, can't believe he's dead. Sam wants cheese. Oh. So can you tell me what you saw? Right, this is what I mostly... Oh, I want cheese now. You're all saying cheese. No, I want cheese and crackers. And a bowl of fruit to go with it. Sam is staying away from cheese? Oh, that sucks. I think your gallbladder is mad. Nothing worse than a mad gallbladder. Okay, so we entered the steam room. We all went to sit down. The steam was dense. Didn't see anything much further after that. I just heard Mr. Garrow shouting. We all ran for the door and bumped into each other. It was very alarming by this point. The door was stuck, and with all the steam it was quite frightening. I was barely able to see my own feet. Garrow was covered in blood. He doesn't believe Garrow did it. Yesterday we had a small argument. Sir Rodney informed me he was to attend London Archaeological Congress with me. Then he advised me of quite the opposite aggressively too. And he confirms the ring is from his Egypt campaign. Kept it for himself, has his own particular ideas about archaeology. He lied though, saying that his work was proceeding rather well. But that's professional pride. And Sir Gregory was about to put a stop to it. But then Rodney arrived, and then Sir Gregory calmed down, thanks to Lord Blackmore, and they allowed us to work. Not sure what they agreed on. What will happen now that Sir Rodney is dead? I haven't thought about that, but if is needed I will fight to disband his expectation. He didn't place the champagne. Were you seeking the golden knife? You're an amateur, yes. So he was after the golden knife. Knife would provide immortality only to the worthy one, and yet it is cursed and it would kill you if you are not initiated. Did you expect to find the knife at the baths? Sir Rodney thought it might be there. Did you observe the knife representations there? They're so extraordinary, and we had hoped... Oh, it's a tragedy, he's passed away. I don't see any depictions of the knife there at all, though. How big of a lump was the melted silver? It was enough to make the whole thing, the whole knife, with no leftover. So it's the right size. Because that was something I wondered when we were making it. I thought, let's see if there's any left over. There isn't. And is the knife incomplete? It isn't. So there's enough to make the knife. And we discovered the melted silver, and he was like, no. Let me go back again. I just want to get a timeline of how long they were in there. No, silver you say? No, I don't know how it got there. Not very convincing to me. Let's seize for Mr. Phillips again. So the fire was burning all night to keep the room nice and hot. Ordered him to light the brazier yesterday. Takes time till the room fully heats. The gentleman had a meeting at 9 o'clock this morning. I wanted everything to be perfect. There we go. They had been in the steam room for 20 minutes when I heard shouting. I knew I'd seen a reference somewhere to how long they were in there. I ran to the door, but it was closed and I couldn't open it. Well, we know the key was taken inside. So the murderer took the key in there to lock everybody in so he could dispose of the weapon and create a mystery, in the hopes that it, it would absolve him in the process of the police being unable to figure out where the murder weapon went. So for 20 minutes, no way at all, would that ice dagger have survived. Would have been mostly gone by the time it got round to that, right? So if the silver knife wasn't what was melted in the brazier, where's the knife? I don't know, there's something about the silver knife theory that doesn't feel right. What is it about it that doesn't feel right? You see, to me, the ice knife doesn't feel right either. The reason I say the ice knife doesn't feel right is this. Where's the map? So what would have had to happen? First of all, we found, bear in mind, the murderer has been locked in that room since the killing. Since they took the murder weapon in there with them, they've been locked in the room by the murderer's own design to try to, absolve themselves in some kind of weird-ass mystery. And then they've come to Scotland Yard and been put in a cell. They've not had time to leave the scene of the crime and move evidence around. So, the mould used to create the knife was found at St Albans, where we found the real knife, where we know the murderer made their way to the real knife but couldn't get to it because they were acting alone and they needed a second person to reach the knife through the, the gate puzzle that we did. They then made that mould by, carving it, looking at the knife for reference. The mould pieces were found at St Albans, which means after the knife was made, those pieces had to have been put in that cabin. However, the ice maker to freeze the ice knife was found at Strand Lane Baths, in the basement, underneath the Frigidarium. So whoever made it there, they either had to bring the ice maker back with them and put it underneath the Strand Lane Baths, or they made it there and took the mould pieces back to St Albans. But there's travelling either way after the knife has been made, which could be upwards of about 40 odd minutes. Roughly, give or take. All that time, that ice knife is sitting in an ice bucket with champagne, and then it's got to survive 20 minutes in a steam room before it's used as a weapon. Why silver, though? I think it's just because that's what they had. I mean, bear in mind, back in these times, you did have silver coins. These were money. This was money. Now you don't get silver. Like the silvery coins, like these types here. Yeah. That's not really silver. The silver is held in storage somewhere in the mint as like a value of how much silver the country owns, but that's not silver. But back then, it was. Dude could be lying about the 20 minutes, if not, if the murderer has the key. What was to stop him from coming out a bit later to change the room, to the changing room, to fetch the knife and go back in and lock the door behind him at that point? That's true. That's a good point. I didn't consider that angle. So, but I still feel that, given the fact that the knife had to have been made at St Albans and then brought to the baths, I think it would have mostly melted away by then. Even if it was put in the champagne bucket at St Albans. It just feels wrong to me. But here's the thing. And I'm going to get a little spoilery now, so mute it if you don't want to hear this. Because I remember the solution I went with is the silver knife and Blinkhorn when I first played this game. And I remember checking it which I'm not doing this time around, but I remember checking it then to see if it was right, and it was wrong. Because the game will tell you it's wrong. And it tells you what the right solution was. It said the right solution is the ice knife and Blinkhorn. So it does say that. See a lot of lip flapping. It does say that in the thing. It's the ice knife and Blinkhorn is the actual solution, and that's what I don't agree with it at all, because no way the ice knife would have survived long enough. It doesn't make any damn sense to me. Matt needs to make big hand waves when on mute. I will. So I do remember that being a stupid solution to this. This is the only one I've been keeping my lips sealed until we got to the point of making the decision, right? Because it's stupid that that's the real solution. It just is. If the mold is at St. Albans, the knife had to survive all the way from there in an ice bucket, having been made early that morning by Blinkhorn and brought to the baths in a champagne bucket. But the ice maker had to have been put back first, because there was no way they could make it at St. Albans without that ice maker. So Blinkhorn had to go and put the ice maker back underneath there, but the salt was there, which means it had to have been made underneath the baths in the frigidarium. Unless he brought all the salt with him as well. I don't know, maybe he was keeping the knife cold all that time and then put it in a champagne bucket in the frigidarium and then came. Because the guy, the doorman, left early. He left at 7:20 and returned at 7:40 because he went to send a telegram, and in that time he locked the baths back up, the actual building, so nobody could have got in. And he said that Rodney Bentcliffe and Blinkhorn arrived together. Okay? He said they arrived together. So they had to come in through the front door together. Otherwise, he would have said they seem to already be here. I don't know. But I don't like the idea of an ice dagger. It's stupid. Could he not have made the rest of the ice in the bucket with the salt water to keep the ice knife cooler? Yeah, I mean, that's a theory. But how did he get there and hide the ice maker back under the frigidarium if he came into the building and went into the changing rooms? The doorman would have seen that he'd left and then came back again and told us about it. He said, oh no, he left and then came back and then he went in there, because he was giving us a full rundown of who arrived when. You know, he said that Gregory Pitkin arrived first. I've got it written down here so I don't have to keep referring to it. I did this at the start of the stream. Pitkin arrived first. Then he said that Rodney Bentcliffe and Blinkhorn arrived together, and then Garrow arrived shortly afterwards. But nobody remembers who had the champagne bucket. And we don't seem able to figure that out. But he said he left at 7:20 to 7:40 and locked the door when he left. And the only person with a key is him. They only have the one key. They are just lying about the 20 minutes there, problem solved. Well, the thing is, you're saying that the person who's lying about the 20 minutes is the person who isn't a suspect. We don't have a suspect thing, because he was outside the locked room and the key was inside. It can't possibly be the doorman. He would have no reason to lie to cover himself. That's the thing. So the doorman, we can trust his testimony. So we've got to rely on the 20 minutes before screaming. Now, it's possible Rodney Bentcliffe was stabbed the minute they walked into the steam room and it was quiet, and then whoever did it ran away. People are notoriously bad at remembering durations. This is true as well. There's witness effects. Yeah. But I'm going to have to go with what's been said either way. Maybe the doorman was lying about the 20 min because he was off doing something naughty. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not, though, with his boss in the other room. He didn't realise the door was locked, so his boss could have come out at any moment and shouted for him and found he wasn't there. If you ask my son, 9 hours on the Xbox it's just been 30 minutes. Oh yeah, I understand. I understand. Anyway, you can tell Shy she can unmute. Sorry, I forgot that Shy was... or I guess she's making grilled cheese. But I think this is the solution, and I know the game thinks it's wrong, but I don't give a shit because I'm going with what I think is right. It's got to be the silver knife, and I think Blinkhorn did it, and I think he just melted pocket change down and used that. I did not say I forgot about her. No! You butts, you're just stirring the shit now, aren't you? He says you can unmute. I didn't say I forgot about her. I said I forgot to say it was okay to unmute. That's different. You're on no one's side. Clip time. Yes, the clip will absolve me. Go right ahead. I'm not always forgetting about... I can never forget about you, sweetheart. Never. Anyway, do we condemn or absolve Blinkhorn? He's a kind of a nice enough guy, but this was premeditated murder. Or I think he intended to use the silver dagger as like, look at this. I made a silver dagger of a thing that you haven't found, so he can prove that later on that he found it first. You're gonna start keeping track of all the time Matt says I forgot, sorry. Oh no, don't do that. Just forget to do that. You see, if I ask you a year from now, did you keep track of that? You can say, oh, I forgot, I'm sorry. That'd be great. Anyway, now I'm going to condemn Blinkhorn. The rope. He needs the rope.
I'm feeling rather uncomfortable. Why have I been put into these cuffs?
I fear that you had better get used to them, Mr. Blinkhorn.
For now.
They are your reward for the murder of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe.
What? No, that's a lie.
It is regrettable, for you are a talented archaeologist. I will request that you are placed in a prison where you are unable to dig an escape tunnel. That is, of course, if they decide that you shall live. The consulting detective who salutes your intelligence in performing the perfect crime, yes, but also the gentleman who detests your motivation.
You know nothing.
You wish to be the one who would reveal this to the world.
Is that the golden knife? How?
I also like to dig, you see. I only followed your trail. Such a pity that there is always someone willing to steal your credit, wouldn't you say? And there was the chance of a lifetime. You had to take it. It was not to be shared. But now I am here. And there is no one who will stop the tread of justice, Mr. Blinkhorn. Goodbye.
Blinkhorn knew of Bentcliffe's intention to take all the credit for the discovery of the golden knife. He devised a cunning plan that would not only eliminate his rival, but would award him the fame of the discovery. He melted silver coins to create a silver reproduction of the golden knife of Mithras, murdered Bentcliffe, and then threw the knife into a brazier. The rope is a fitting punishment. Does not. I was about to say I forgot that Shy was on mute. Yes, but I didn't say I forgot about you as a person. I just said I forgot. I did say I forgot that you were still muted and to tell you it's okay. That's what I was saying.